Hey everyone, and welcome to From Waterloo to the Alamo. I'm your host, Traci Wilson, and today we have Sharon Radovich. She is with Panache Interiors. Actually, you are the owner of Panache Interiors.
That I am.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
I am so glad to have you. It was really fun right before. I got to see one of your very distinctive projects, which I'm sure we're going to hit on throughout the podcast as we chat today a little bit about you. But let's start with your background, okay? So you have built one of the most distinctive interior design brands, here in Austin. I would say you have a body of work that consistently goes above and beyond what you would expect from a typical residential project. For listeners that are meeting you for the first time, where did all of this start and how did you get pulled into this design world?
I grew up in a large family, and my mom was super creative, super resourceful, and, the house was very chaotic all the time. And I think I was born a little OCD, and I needed structure and organization and beauty. And so it just kind of evolved from that. And as I was thinking about this, I actually think that I innately needed to carve out little spaces for myself, in a big family. And so I would do things like move my dresser into the closet, and I set up like a Barbie high-rise, and I would open up the dresser doors and have my Barbies play and flirt with each other over the balconies, and, so just creating spaces for myself. And I think that, whether it was rearranging my room or setting up this little high rise for my Barbies to play in, I think that I always just was attracted to having a nice, quiet, peaceful space.
Yeah. No, I love that. So even though you are very unique in your interior design, I would say that you're probably known for your fearless colors, your sculptural, installs, rooms that feel more like, it's a work of art than really like an interior project. If someone asks what kind of designer you are, how do you describe your point of view that differentiates you?
I'd say I'm a little fearless.
Yeah.
I'm definitively bold. And I think that a lot of the courageous and installation-like interiors that I do stemmed from my years in the hotel industry.
Yeah.
So I, spent 12 years in the hotel industry, looking at hotels, experiencing hotels, and analyzing what made them so beautiful and functional.
Well, and there is nothing better when you're like, oh, I feel like I'm in a hotel. I feel like that is a win when someone walks into your space and they feel that sense of like, oh, I'm in this hotel environment, because that's your first thought when you're like, we're going to go and stay at a hotel. You really do want it to be an experience, right? If you're going to spend the money for it. So I feel like you've won if someone has that vibe or that feeling when they walk into your space. So your work has really a very distinct Texan thread running through it. But it never ever really tips the theme that you're creating. What about Austin? The light, the landscape, the people has shaped the way you work without ever really leaning on like the obvious things.
I think it's the energy of the people, the authenticity of the people, the relationships that I've garnered here in the 40 years I've lived here. And I love nature, and it inspires me. That's where I go to recharge, just whether it's hiking or in my own garden, weeding. It's like it's a release for me. So Austin has such a creative community that I think that, the rest of Texas doesn't really have. But Texans are kind of unapologetically bold and
authentic,
strong.
yeah,
and authentic, and I love that. I just love the vibe here in Austin.
Well, so, Natalie Roberts, who's amazing, she's been helping us kind of curate people to come on this podcast. And I know that she was saying, like, y'all had, when y'all reconnected, she was talking about one of the things that you mentioned, alongside your two newest projects was that you're still very known for your signature hardware, right? So like there's the Jaguar springs, cuffs, and the sword drapery hardware. Why don't you walk me through specifically, because I don't know anything about this, where those signature pieces came from, and what was the first one? What was the brief? Kind of, how did you navigate into that world?
The first one was actually problem solving, and it was for a tiki lounge in a residence in Travis Heights. And I had made an upholstered cornice with like a black and white leopard print on it, and it just was missing something. It just didn't have enough oomph. And I told the client, I said, I'm going to find something to add to it. And I did. I found during my travels, I found a ceramic Mayan mask that I added to it. It had a little bit of that tribal tiki feel to it, and so I added that to the cornice. So that was the first one that I ever added something to that was unexpected. And then the car springs one, that client wanted, she was in Rob Roy, and she wanted a little bit of an Egyptian feel in her living room. And my brother has a car business, and I was visiting him one time, and I knew in the back of my head I needed to find something really cool for that project. And I was in his shop, and I saw some springs for the cars, and so I wound up buying those from him and putting them on the drapery to cinch them in and give it that Egyptian coil on your arm kind of feel.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I feel like hardware is one of the that detail that a lot of people, really don't notice, right? For the most part. But your specific hardware, you treat it kind of like a sculpture. Why does that small layer matter to you to finish off a room?
I think it's a lot like when you're getting dressed. You put on that cute little black dress. You can dress it up, you can dress it down, but you really need to have the right accessories to make the right statement.
Like the necklace or the earrings.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like that for me.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's interesting. You were saying, I feel like people who love to garden and kind of create with flowers and plants, it's all artistic to me, right? Like to me, that goes hand in hand. So you clearly love to create something special and unique. And of course we know, especially being in the real estate industry, those small details matter. Like when you are building a house or trying to sell your house for X dollar, you are going to get more bang for your buck when they walk in and they see a completely custom room, right? Whether it's draperies, whether it's wallpaper, whether it is the unique hardware, the unique fixtures that are put in a room. So it is really important. And it's very cool that you have some very distinguishing hardware pieces that honestly goes from an unnoticeable, accessory to something that is like almost a centerpiece of the room. It's very cool.
Yeah, I've been very lucky to have clients that have interesting things and are adventurous enough to try different things. Like the client that had the sword draperies, they had 2 small daughters. The husband wanted to display the swords. The wife was a little concerned about the safety of that, so I used them as the drapery rods. And then when the client sold their house, we came in, we put up some standard rods, and took down the swords, and they moved with the swords.
And they moved with the swords. Yeah, it's one of those things you have to exclude, everybody, in your contracts if you buy a house. If you have very cool things that are permanently attached, you got to exclude it. And I would have done that for that too. I don't blame them. Okay, so this is the specific project we were talking about before we went ahead and started recording. But the House of 63 Colors. It feels like it should be a movie, But let's talk about the project that honestly, I kind of can't stop thinking about. It's a 2-story facade made of stacked panels in 63 colors that gradate pink to purple to blue to green to yellow and then reverse back around the house. How on earth did that idea land, and how did you sell it to the client, or was it the client's idea? I want to know how it all came together.
I wasn't part of the project at the very beginning when the panels were applied to the exterior of the house. But I was called in by the architect after they were having trouble trying to figure out the colors. And I'd worked with this architect on other projects, and he told the client, Sharon can figure this out. She's an expert at color. And so I started working with the client after several failed palette suggestions.
Yeah.
One day I just literally showed her a palette chart where it just basically gradated from all the colors.
Like and she looked at it and she says,
that's what I want.
Yeah.
And so it's hours of preparation, including building a model to get all of the colors to really flow from the pink to
Right.
the purple. And they used all of our colors. The only colors that really aren't on there are orange, red, gray, and brown. So they're the only colors we didn't use. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the math has to be exact or it falls apart. So, I mean, if you can estimate, I mean, how long did it take from when you came onto the project to when it was installed and finished to really work with the proportions and making sure it all, I mean, that had to be a labor of love.
Yeah, it was. Originally, the house was not on a straight course. The panels were staggered in height, too.
Yeah.
And I kept playing with it, and nothing was really working. So I talked to the architect about straightening them out. For a while, we had them completely soldered, but now we have them straight and, more staggered. And it was a lot of hours. It was a lot of hours coming up with the colors and, just the design, finding inspiration, and working it all out. Originally, when I first laid it out and presented, I had 97 colors.
Wow.
And I was happy with it. Client was happy with it. And then when I started trying to document it for the painters and realized there were 97 colors, I started thinking about 97 paint cans in somebody's garage. And I thought, I should scale this back if I can. So I literally, my team and I, we went down the chart of colors. We found out which ones we had only used once. Because I think there's, I forgot from how many panels, but something like 189 panels, maybe even more than that. I might have the math wrong. But, we cut it back. We just looked for the ones where we just used one color and then found something very similar and reworked the whole thing to get it down to 63 colors, which is still a lot of paint
Still
cans.
a lot of paint colors,
Yeah,
but I mean,
I had to take a picture of all the
less.
paint cans in the garage.
100%. I mean, you got to document the whole process. Okay, so it's the architecture for this. The build, I think, is wrapping up this summer, right?
Yes, it is.
And the architect is Scott Wynn and build Adam Oliver, who you have a very long history of working with.
I do.
I mean, what does that kind of collaboration look like day to day with both of them? Or were they kind of like, we trust you, you do you?
No, it's continual collaboration. I mean, there are daily texts. I'm on the job site 2 or 3 times a week. We confer on everything. I like to collaborate with the builder and the architect. There are things they bring to the table. They say, hey, what if we do this? And, we all hash it out, and then we present it to the client.
Yeah.
And take it from there. So every little element, we're working together hand in hand.
Well, the energy,
all the time.
right? Like
Yeah.
you probably, he bestows a different type of energy, and that's where that creative environment works. I think it's so great to have a good relationship with them. I feel like it's probably key for you to do your job well.
It's really helpful when you've worked over and over with the same team because you know each other's language.
Right.
It's like your family or, your friends. You know each other's
and you know
language.
the quality that you're going to get with it, right?
Right,
So it's not like you're, it's why to me, I'm always like when we go to restaurants and you want to order the same thing that you've been ordering or the same few things and you want to try something new, I just don't want to be disappointed. So it's like, to me, it's like, if it ain't broke, why don't fix it. Okay, so let's talk about materials and surfaces in homes. I mean, the interior of a house really keeps the energy going, right? It creates that whole feeling when you walk into it. Yellow and aqua, hair on hide wall covering, 4 Hill Country centric murals, a 17 by 12 foot mural of a steer's shoulders and a head in the living room, a valued pink onyx wall on the right side of it, and a powder room where a tree sculpture holds up the sink. All of those moments, how hard was it to get the clients to say yes to those things? Because those are like so wild but sound so cool.
There was not any hesitation on any of those things for her. It was really, really fun to work with her and her new husband. She got married in January. So now he's on board too. But I think the only one I was really nervous about presenting was that steer. Because as you walk in the front door, you are facing this steer. And he is, 17 feet long, 12 feet tall, and just massive. I mean, his horn's probably 8 feet long. And I didn't show it to him before I put it on the rendering. I did it in the living room with the furniture and the pink onyx. And I just gave him the rendering. And they're like, yeah, that looks good. And I said, well, what do you think about the steer? And the response was, we don't hate it.
Yeah.
So I just took that, okay, we're moving forward with it. And it'll go up next week or, well, not, probably next month. We'll probably put all the wallpaper up at the very end, so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That'll be
But the
super
onyx is
cool.
going up this week, so it was really exciting week over there.
Oh my gosh. So it is a pink. So you have a vaulted pink onyx wall alongside this steer.
Side by side, just like this. They butt right up to each other. Yeah.
It's like Texas girl.
It is. It's a Texas girl.
It's a Texas girl
Absolutely.
vibe. I love it.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Matthias Braganza, General Sales Manager at Mack Height Ford Lincoln, your #1 Ford dealer in Central Texas. We are here for all your automotive needs, Ford, Lincoln, pre-owns, all year makes and model. If we don't have it, we'll find it. You won't find anybody that will work as hard as I will to earn your business. Thank you for making us #1 in Austin, Texas.
Hey, I'm Brandon Sparks with Nautilus Lending, based right here in Central Texas. We're a full-service mortgage operation and brokerage, serving Greater Texas as well as Florida and Tennessee. One of the greatest things about our shop is our ability to facilitate creative financing. What that means is that anything legally possible, we can get it funded. You want to find out more? Reach out to us, www.nautiluslending.com. That's www.nautiluslending.com.
That is like something I would never see. This is where I think this is why you're so successful and so recognizable, is because I feel like you're super confident in your decision choices. Even if they're a little wild, you're confident. Because if someone was to say, hey, let's do a pink onyx vaulted wall next to a steer, I'd be like, I can't imagine it, which is why my house is like all white grays, white oak. It's very simple because to me, I think, oh, I can change it one day. I can spice it up. But if I have a blank canvas, I can live with it. How do you trust your eye in that? I mean, is it just confidence? Is it just knowing the vibe? I mean, how do you trust it?
A lot of it is knowing the vibe of the client and the project itself. And for me, a lot of it is the texture of the materials and trying to make the backgrounds a little more exciting than just, your normal white walls. And there's nothing wrong with a beautiful white house with white oak. I mean, it's peaceful, it's restful, it's elegant. I love that look too. But I've just been fortunate to have clients that, will try different things. I've got a house out in California that is kind of deco Moroccan, and she's just got all kinds of wild stuff that I have to pull together somehow.
I love it. But those are two pretty bold pieces, right?
Yeah.
And next to each other.
Yeah.
Man, I can't wait to see that. Actually,
it's going to be fun. I'm hoping it'll be on the AIA tour in 2027.
Oh.
It's too late to do it this fall.
No,
so,
but that will be will be super cool. Super cool. Okay, let's talk about light and layered imagery. So there are perforated printed murals, right, throughout this house that show one image on one side and then let you see straight through it from the other side. Now, the interior piece between the hallway and the laundry room for this specific house uses a watery photographic composition by lens-based artist Leslie Kell. How on earth did that collaboration come together? And what were you after specifically with that piece? Because that sounds just mind-blowing.
I met Leslie about a decade ago, and she does these photographic montages that are like portals to different areas. And I felt like her work would appeal to this client. So the laundry room in the house is kind of in the basement. There are no windows in there. And in front of that, we designed a snack bar for like the pool area. And so in between it, I wanted to let some of the natural light from the hallway come into the laundry room. So I suggested we put a glass wall there instead of a sheetrock wall with cabinets on it. And then do the perforated vinyl. And how the perforated vinyl came about is I literally went to a business that the outside of their business was a glass front and a signage. But when I was inside and going to leave, it's like I could see the entire parking lot, all the trees outside, and I was like, this is a great idea for that room. So that's how that came about. So I pick up influences everywhere I go.
Well, and I feel like with a room with no windows, that was like a very smart, because, that probably gives it some feeling of like, ooh, I'm not like trapped in a box.
Yes.
You know?
yes.
So that's super creative. I would have never thought of that. I would just been like, I'm not having a laundry room without windows.
Yeah.
Instead of getting creative with it. So tell me a little bit more about your favorite thing about Leslie Kell, because I know that it's basically like doing two jobs at once with her pieces. I know that it pulls the natural light and all that stuff, but when did it click to solve that problem for you?
I think when I was at that storefront.
You think?
It's like that was actually, yeah. Because before that, we were going to do either just like a textured glass or, just something in between.
So you had never done that before?
Never. And it's not done yet, so we'll wait to see how it turns out.
Well, jury's still out.
It will be installed sometime this summer, yeah.
Okay, so we're still speaking about this specific house. Okay, so the exterior screen shades of the west side feature an open field of bluebonnets and longhorns, which is visible from the inside. You call it a more colorful and interesting than cream sunshades. Talk to us about the choice to turn that functional control element into art.
That again was just, serendipity. I was meeting with a shade vendor and they said, hey, by the way, we can print on screen shades. And I was like, oh, you can. And so I was meeting with the clients a few days later and I said, instead of doing outside shades that are just cream or black, I said, we could do something printed if you're interested. And they're like, what? And I said, well, anything you want on there. And one of them popped up, how about longhorns? And I was thinking Texas Longhorn symbol because they were both graduated from UT, but it turned into longhorns and bluebonnet fields and trees and sunshine, and it should be one of those iconic destinations where people want to go and get their picture in front of it. I think the shades will be down a lot, so I think it'll be a fun thing for the neighbors to see on their walks.
Let's go see the house of 63 colors.
Yeah.
Everything about this house, though, is just like there was no detail left. But I think it also incorporates Austin's identity to its core. It's funky, it's eccentric, but it also Texas. You pulled in every element of Austin. It's like coolest, keep Austin weird, but super elevated, elegant, amazing style. So that's
definitely boho ranch. It's got a little everything going on. Still a lot of very traditional elements as well in the house.
Yeah,
so.
goodness, makes me feel like Marfa cowgirl style. It's fantastic. I love it. Okay, so let's talk about another one of your houses. Okay. And I love that all of these have names because it's very distinguishing. The Lord of the Rings house. So your other current project, it's pulling from Lord of the Rings. It's vintage doors from the Capitol, which is just really cool. Round hobbit doors and a green cork floors like a forest for, the ambiance. Where on earth did that brief come from? And what is this family's connection to the books? They have to love it.
The entire family loves the books. This couple, their parents, their brother, they've all gone to New Zealand and done the whole Lord of the Rings thing. Thanksgiving Day, they actually watch Lord of the Rings from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and have the many meals. I forget how many there are. Maybe there's 7 of those too. But anyway, they just live and breathe Lord of the Rings, the entire family. And so this house, we just finished the plans and sent them off to permitting. We've been working on the plans for almost a year.
Wow.
It's a house in Avery Ranch that we're completely gutting. We're taking the staircase out of the house and putting a new one on the outside of the house. And so the plans are just going to permitting, and we will be starting demo sometime late this month. Avery Ranch.
Wow.
Yeah. But the outside will still look like an Avery Ranch house because they have a very strong HOA there, so yeah.
But the inside's
going to be
all
really
going to be fun. Yeah. I love it. That's a very specific client for sure.
Very specific.
Okay, so let's talk about the vintage doors from the Capitol. That is so specific. How did you make that place, the piece of Texas history inside a house that otherwise is definitely leading very, very hardcore Tolkien? Texas Tolkien. I don't know. I've never seen that together.
We don't have they call it the Shire. They named it themselves. So they were looking for some used bookcases for their parents' garage. and they ran across the University of Texas salvage site or State of Texas salvage site, and they found the doors, and we literally took out a hidden door that was in the house to the study and put these vintage doors there instead. Because we were
How
still working on the
cool.
plans.
Were the
at the
doors
time.
in decent shape? Or
Yeah,
is
they're
there
in
some-
pretty decent shape. Yeah, they're going to need a little tiny bit of
Right.
paint touch up, and they're going to need some hardware to hang
Right.
them because that's very different from what's on them now. So what we use now. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll have to figure that out in 6 months.
Yeah, for sure. So once it's, what are you most protective about this specific property, as it goes into production?
This one, I think I'm just protective about keeping that foresty feel inside. Keeping with the rich woods and the dark greens, but yet the functionality. Like yesterday, we met with the cabinet shop, and we just really were only able to get through the kitchen cabinets. For every detail about where things are going to be stored, how the family's going to function in the house. Where the silverware goes and where the kids' water bottles go. I mean,
Right.
everything, just talking it through and making sure that this kitchen's going to function for this family now while the kids are 2 and 4 and when the kids are 12 and 14.
Yeah, it's so important for sure. Okay, so we touched a little bit on collaboration, but let's talk about your total collaboration, right? You've got your collaboration with your clients, with your architects, with your design, with everybody, right? So there's so many voices in the circle. How do you manage that and keep a project clearly on the path and kind of fitting in with your, vision for it?
It is, it's a ton of details, you're right, and it's a ton of voices. And of course, I always complicate things by wanting to print screen shades and, do perforated vinyl things.
Yeah.
And take it just a little beyond. But it's just, I work a lot, it is nonstop for me. But I think that because, especially with the architect and the builder, there's a lot of history and collaboration. We know how to talk to each other. But even on the big project I'm working on now, I've taken on the pool vendor and working with the landscape architects on this one too. So it's a lot of detail, and sometimes my brain gets really, really tired. But I have found over the years, and I've been doing this a really long time, that can stay really focused for about 3 hours on one thing, and then I got to move to something else. So it's like,
Right.
we might be working on your furniture, but I need to move to tile design. I can't keep talking about furniture for
Yeah,
much
'cause you're
more
like,
than
I'm
3
over it.
hours.
I'm over it. I need a break.
Can't
and I need
visualize
to-
that
yeah.
anymore.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about looking ahead. So we already mentioned the House of 63 Colors is finishing up this summer. And then the Lord of the Rings house is, going to hopefully be in production in the next few months. What are you itching to do that you haven't done? Is there anything else that's coming along that you're like, ooh, this is going to be fun?
I think I've always fantasized, I guess, about doing a bed and breakfast or a small boutique hotel where every room is from a different decade. Like,
Very
there's
cool.
a 50s room, a 60s room, a 70s room. I think that would be kind of fun to explore and do and dive more into vintage things than I've gotten to do in the
Yeah.
past. So that would be kind
The
of fun.
Decade Hotel. I mean, you got it right there. That's so fun.
If you know anybody who wants to build one, I'm ready for
well,
it.
you know what? We'll talk after this podcast. We'll see if we have any connections there. Okay, so we were just talking too about, how my house is whites, grays, that was such a thing, and every house is starting to look the same, right? I mean, everybody's kind of going, ooh, I like this, I like that. They're just kind of trying to recreate the wheel and add twists and turns here. But what do you think is going to push the field somewhere new over the next, 5-10 years? And where do you want to be in that?
I'm noticing a slight trend towards people going to more traditional elements in the home, be it crown molding, wallpaper. Of course, I never quit using wallpaper even when it wasn't popular. But I do see a trend towards that. I think that the generation now that is creating their home, that they really appreciate artistry and craftsmanship, and they want to see some more of those details in their houses.
Yeah, no, for sure. Okay, so let's end this with, so clearly we've gotten to know you a little bit through just chatting. We know you're an incredible interior designer. You make bold choices. You're fearless, you're creative. Tell us something about you that you may not know just working with you through your projects. Tell us something that you might shock us about you.
I'm kind of a bowling geek.
Really?
Was that shocking enough?
Love that. Are you in a bowling league?
No, I'm not.
I feel like you would love
I don't have
that.
time for bowling league, but
Yeah.
I love to go bowling. Yeah, so
I love that. You know,
and I'm a pretty good bowler too.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, it's so funny because we'll go bowling with my parents, and it always shocks me with how good they are. But they're like, we used to do this all the time when we were younger. That was, you know, they didn't have all the crazy stuff that we had when we were growing up. You know, so and bowling's just clean, good fun. It's really hard to get in trouble bowling.
Well, yeah, I became a bowling geek because my birthday's the day after Christmas, and really nobody wants to eat or drink anything.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's done with
Yeah.
that scene. So I finally figured out that people would go bowling. So I have basically a bowling birthday party every year. And one year it was just my mom and my 3 sisters. And my mom, I guess she was probably about 85. She beat us all.
Oh,
But she had been on a league before she started having children.
okay.
Yeah.
So
But that was
she
a long time ago.
It's like riding a bike, right? You never really.
Apparently.
Yeah.
She won one game and she said, I'm done. I'm not playing anymore.
Yeah. Well, Sharon, what a blast talking with you. It seems like you have some 2 very unique projects that will probably make you even more popular than you are now. And I love seeing people take, you know, bold chances in their homes, probably because like I am a very safe color palette choice. But I also think too, like I love it when people, because it inspires me too. So I think that's the biggest thing is you're inspiring people to really get creative with their homes, because we always talk about this. This is where people are majority of the time, right? It's where the kids grow up. It's where memories are. You always remember your first house or this house or this house. And how cool is it to remember the house that had 63 colors, you know, or the house that had 2 reclaimed, you know, doors from the capital of Texas. It's just very cool that you're creating these incredible signature spaces in these homes that will probably be remembered for a very long time. So it's kind of your mark on history.
Yeah, I just feel so fortunate to be able to explore all these different styles. You know, it's like when I have to make a decision for myself, it's like, what do I want? Because I love it all. You know,
Yeah.
it's so fun. So
that's fun that you get to work with these clients and make it come to life.
yes, it is.
Awesome. Well, Sharon, you are a blast. So thank you so much for being here today. And that is all we got. Thanks for listening.